Okay, welcome back everyone. So it's late April 2025 and we're going to start prepping for our bear baiting season. We're only going to do 2 bait sites this year. Last year was our first time doing it, and we learned a lot of lessons. So we're going to keep it down to 2. We've got 150 acres here and there's 2 spots we're going to try. One where we got our bear last year, we're going to redo that spot. And we're going to try another spot that's a little higher elevation on the far side of the property and see what we've got there. We saw lots of bear sign in the fall, and then throughout the season as well. So it's looks pretty promising. We're going to do it a little differently this year as well. Once we were legally allowed to start baiting last year, we did, and I was putting a lot of stuff down. But this year, one thing we learned is that we didn't get much bear activity early on, and maybe because they were new sites, we're just figuring this property out. But I'm gonna get my bear sites set up and just some scent out, but I'm not gonna really start baiting them until May 1st. Maybe that's wrong, I don't know, but I think it's a more efficient way for us to try to manage our bears. We didn't even get our bear until June 14th or something like that, when they really kicked in. But we never even saw any bears on camera until around that first week of May 7th, May 8th-ish. So we're gonna start baiting about a week prior to when we see our typical activity. We've been watching the bears for about 3 years, and every year it seems somewhere around May on this property, that's when they like to start moving around and coming around through here. So that's when we're going to start focusing really, when we put more of our effort into actually putting bait out. We'll start with a little bit of grease, some icing, some of the scent mix that we put together, and see how that goes. And we're going to be putting 2 trail cameras at each site. One that's a cellular camera, and then one that's just like a cheap Amazon camera. I don't have cages for the cameras, but I haven't had an issue with bears last year. Maybe it'll cost me, but if one gets ruined, then I'll consider some cages for them, or a bear box or whatever. But these should do just fine for now. I kind of keep them up a bit high and look down. But we'll get our barrels, we'll get them set up, and we'll take you along for the process. So here we've got our barrels, looking pretty good. Oh yeah, I see my little thing in there. This one here I'm just going to ratchet to a tree, and that one there I bolted. But you can see we've got our holes here. It's probably 9 by 9-ish. Not terrible. I mean, it does the job. I'll put something to cover the top a little bit, but it's got a little opening here. And we've got some extra barrels too, but we're not using any of those ones. Those are just spares. These are our bear baiting barrels, and this is what we're going to stick with. And then we'll take them into the trail. We're going that way to the back 70, and then we're going to go back that way to the far side. It's about another 40 acres over there, and we're going to try setting up a site on each one of those. The one in the back is last year's site, and it was successful, so we're going to do it again this year. And then we're going to try up the hill and just see, where we're starting to see some more bear activity on. And then we might actually bait that area a little more heavily, or focus our efforts on that. But let's see what we do between the 2 sites. Oh wow, salamander. We'll leave him here. I'll put something over top. But I guess that was his little home for the...
He's hiding out here?
Yeah, I'm gonna put him here. Whoop, sorry buddy. Then we'll cover him over so nothing sees him. Our used cooking oil. We'll bring that out here the next one.
Okay.
So minus the used cooking oil, we're getting everything started. One of my favorites, Betty Crocker icing. They seem to love it. And then a bunch of so when we make a roast or bake a turkey or something or smoke a chicken, we like to keep all the drippings, and we save these up throughout the year just to dump at the bait site here to open it up. Okay, and we'll screw this one to a tree, and then we'll ratchet it right in. Right here is nice. Okay,
Yeah, that's a good tree.
then I'll ratchet it right onto here. And that way I can have it sideways, so the bear goes sideways to come in, right? So see this entrance? The blind's going to be down there where the ATV is. We'll probably keep it about 25, 30 yards. And I like to have it on an angle facing. So when the bear comes in to put his paw inside, he's going to be lifting his left shoulder or his left arm and expose those vital areas, but he'll be broadside looking in. If I put it this way, then you'll just be looking at the bear's ass most of the time because his head's going to be in the barrel. And same thing with this way here. If you put it this way, he's going to be facing head on. So set yourself up so the bear is sideways. Okay. Now you might ask yourself, why am I bear baiting? Why am I using bait? And that's because we're trying to be specific. We're only looking for an older male bear. We got a pretty old one last year. He had no teeth hardly. But we're trying to get an older male bear, and by having the bait out, we can differentiate between a male and a female, or a sow they call them, or a sow with cubs. We don't really want to shoot any of those. So we're trying to go for a specific bear, and this gives us more time to observe the animal, watch, and then allow us to make that good kill, quick kill on it. We have a nice clear shot from here. And I'm screwing this into the tree, then I'm going to ratchet it. It's not legal to do it in some areas. This is all our property, so we can do it here. But I don't think you're allowed to do that on public land. I'm not sure, but I don't think so, at least here in New Brunswick. Okay. And this is that really smelly ratchet that you say?
Yeah, it was smelly.
Okay, here we are. All right, we'll get our camera set up. I'm thinking we'll get one here on this tree watching the barrel. Then I'll get one there on that tree, the regular trail camera, and that'll get a closer look at the class of bear that we have coming in and out. I'll try actually maybe get it up a little higher and just get a better view of things. But I think right here is a great spot for a 5-point. I can say I bought these little brackets off Amazon. They don't, I mean, they're not the most sturdy thing, but they are really handy when it comes to mounting your trail cameras. Just great. Okay, I'll get that turned on. It looks like it's looking at the barrel. When I start getting the pictures sent in, then I'll know for sure. I'm just gonna do photos. I don't think I want to do video. I'll kill the battery too quick.
Yeah, I think it might.
Yeah, it's more about absence presence right now.
Yeah, I
then
get
once
it.
we start seeing some, then we can, you know, pull apart the details. All right. That came from back there.
Whoa.
Huh?
I wonder if it picked it
Oh,
up
there's
on
a
the
gobble.
camera.
Yeah, we had a gobble coming from the backfield. Cool.
That's really neat. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
if you want to, actually, you know, I'll do some of this. I'll shoot this up. This is our bear scent. We just make our own. It's some vegetable oil, liquid smoke, and vanilla. It's not super complex, nothing special, but I like how high the sprayer can get. I can shoot straight up into the trees. That punky wood should absorb some of this.
I can actually smell it.
Yeah, it smells nice, eh?
Mm-hmm.
This should give us some good scent in the area. We'll rub some of that icing down on top of the barrel, and we'll just see what starts hitting it. And we don't really have anything in the barrel right now, but once we start putting food in, I like to have a couple holes drilled in the bottom so water can get out, because last year we put corn and molasses in there and no bears hit it for like the first 3 weeks and it became like a big moldy puck and nothing wanted to touch it. So I think it was actually maybe a deterrent of bears, maybe not an attractant. So we're going to be a little bit more mindful of how much bait we're putting in and when, and adjust accordingly depending on how many bears you've got coming in. I'm not going to fill this thing right up to the tits and then have no bears come in and just have a big giant thing of mold. So when we see some bears moving, that's when the bait will start flowing. Trying it out this year. Okay, I didn't bring any utensils, so now I have to use a stick. But really, this is all we're going to do to start this bait. I've got the area scented. I'm going to smear some of this fondant. It's like a fudge, I guess. Smear this on the trees. It looks like I see some claw marks in this tree.
Do you really? Hold on,
Yeah.
let me see.
Maybe that's a good sign. It might not be bear, it might be. How if I know, but yeah, cool. Okay, I'm gonna throw this jar in because it's got lots of scent. So here is a bunch of oils. Jackie's gonna be happy to have her jars back. So this is lard and oil, all scented like a nice pot roast. I've got granola bar, and I mean, the amount of bait I'm putting in is almost embarrassing. It's such a small amount. But we just want to see if this spot has anything kicking around. If a bear shows up and starts pulling some food out, we're going to really treat it more seriously and try to get a bear coming in. This is some lard we got from our local butcher. Okay. Man, everything is like soaked and breaking. You were right, I should have brought a utensil.
Yeah, next time we'll remember that.
All right. I'm not even going to put the sticks in there to protect it right now from raccoons. I just want to see what starts to show up and investigate the scent in the area. And then we'll put our bait in and actually start going. We're going to do some icing sugar and corn mix along with some fresh bread with vanilla scent to it. And any table scraps and things like that. And then if I don't have one, usually around June we come out with that sow and heat stuff and we spray that around the site. And that when things really start to get going. So we'll see. We have high hopes for this spot just from scouting in the fall. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so here we go. This should be the view to the bear barrel. That's the bait barrel over there. And this is our view. Here comes my ride.
You ready?
Yep. Okay. So I guess I should quickly explain. Just up here was the top of the hill, and we went down. You can see we're going down into this valley. Up in the top end of the valley over there at the back corner of the property where the funnel is, that's where we have the one bear bait. And this trail here we put in 2 years ago, and this is going to lead to the back 70, and that's where our other bait is, and that's where we're going to come with us for the drive. We'll have to check the rain. That was working good. Just the way it said. Okay, so this one we're doing a little differently. I've got some lag bolts and I bolt this one into this big poplar here. Once again, not something you do on public land, but because I owned all this land, we're allowed to do it with our trees. Where in this case, it's not great for the trees, but it sure does do a good job of holding this barrel up tight. Aiming the barrel like this, so the bear is going to have to go sideways, be broadside. There's our stand right there. And this is what we did last year, and we ended up getting a good bear, 200-pound male, and it came out from in here, came broadside. We took the shot, the arrow hole right there, but it was a clear pass through, and the bear went maybe 10 feet. So I'm going to leave this open and let some rain get in there, but this thing's now on here. It's secured well enough. I don't think anything's going to tear it off. And once again, we'll be putting some of these logs and stuff, sticking them in here to stop any raccoons and things. But for now, we're just going to leave it open, get this site set up with all the scents, and then get the cameras up. Okay. We come down and we have a little back trail that comes in from that way, and we can get in. So we never actually have to come into this area unless we're baiting. And it's usually me who does the baiting, but Jackie will come in and do it as well. But then the bears get used to having our scent in this area, and sometimes they walk the same trail we walk to come in to hit this. But our stand is exactly 30 yards from the barrel. And we were crossbow hunting last year, and that was a really nice range for us with the crossbow. So we're happy with that distance. And then this should give us some accuracy, absence, presence. And then this here, a little Amazon cam. It's decent quality photos, and we'll mount that somewhere here so we can get an even better view, and sometimes we'll set these up on video, but we'll get an even better view for judging the bears. And just for the record, these are new gloves. We haven't done any baiting with these gloves on. Those were the other ones. You don't want to do the baiting and then touch your cameras, because that's how you get these things destroyed, right? The bears so far have behaved themselves and haven't really been a problem for our cameras. Maybe this year it'll be different. And this is just pork lard. Okay, and my favorite, vanilla ice cream. Yeah, we were in here really heavy. I'm going to keep this just on the end here, and then I'll pull it out once they come and lick it up and do their thing. And last but not least, we're going to spray the trees down. Now, I'm not putting any scent on the tree that my trail camera's in, obviously, but all these punky stumps, all this stuff, you know I'm spraying all that. I think that's enough. Okay, so now we've got both baits set up. The only thing I'll have to do is watch for bears, come down and touch up the baits and the attractants as necessary. We'll obviously collect any trash. You know, they seem to take those, lick them clean, and just drop them beside it. Okay, so tree stands there, quad's all here, it's all set up. Got all the bait done. Got my spy point cam, which we're in a bit of a valley, so I mean the service is okay at best. I miss a lot of pictures of animals on that one, unfortunately, but my little cheap Amazon can, that thing is always trusty and works. So that thing's up and running. I've got the cellular camera so we can know if they're here. And what we do is we come in on the trail over that way, and then we walk around the back and then get up in our stand that way. And you could use a rifle here or a crossbow, because that's a 30-yard shot. Pretty decent. Okay, so it's about, I don't know, maybe about 8 or 9 days after we first set up this bait. Because we're making all of our own bait, we're not buying in anything. What we do is we just buy some flour when it's on sale, and in the winter months we bake some bread. We usually bake about 6 loaves at a time. Then we'll just put those in storage, and then we'll bring them out as we get into baiting. So we don't bait super heavy, like a guide or anything. We're just doing this so we can get our own bear. We're doing this from the beginning because we're just kind of scent baiting the site. We put a little bit of grease, some vanilla icing sugar, and some corn, just so we get some raccoons and things coming around. You know, we've had raccoons, we've had skunks, we've even had turkeys show up at the bear bait here. But last night we got our first bear show up. So for a brand new site, just over a week, that's not bad. Come on over and take a look. Because we got our first bear on camera last night, now we're going to starting to put some food in this barrel. And we've got a loaf of bread in here. We've got a few sardines, probably got a couple more pieces of bread, and then shove them in here. And I like to put some vanilla icing on the bread. And that's going to just be, you know, some actual food. So now we finally got a bear to come in, eat a little bit of corn. He finds a little bit of a treat. He was here around 4:30 to 5:30 this morning. And so he's still in the woods somewhere out in here, probably not all that far. But the nice part is that when he comes back, you know, just to check, it's pretty important to make sure that he has some actual food here. And then this is how you start getting him on a pattern. And we're going to try this year. We've left this open the whole time, but now that we're putting food in the barrel and we're not just scenting the site, but we're actually starting to really bait, I'm going to cover up the top here to keep the raccoons out because they are major pests. That should do there. And I'm going to have to put something really heavy on top, like this stump. Nice and soggy. There, that should keep the raccoons out. And it should work well enough to keep any other critters out. I have some live maple in here. There's a few trees we had to trim out of the way. If you look behind you, you can see where our ground blind is set up. And we just trimmed out a maple. I like to use live wood when I'm putting in, like, to block the barrel. I've taken dead wood from the ground, and I know in some places you're only allowed to take dead wood, but the raccoons can just tear it apart really easily, whereas if it's live wood, it's way harder. They can't really tear it up. Only a bear is going to be able to get this out of here. So that's what we're going to stick with, and we'll use this for the rest of the season. We're going to try to get Jackie on this one. It looks like a boar, maybe about 150 pounds. We're still at the end of April, so we'll probably feed him for a while and then maybe decide to come in here and try to hunt him. Give him, you know, a week or so of eating the food coming in on a regular until he's kind of patternable. And then we're going to come in and hunt when the wind is right. So, you know, it might take a week, might take 2 weeks, but we'll try. You can see here, we've got the blind set up. Should be good enough. It's a 30-yard shot, and Jackie will be shooting the 20 gauge with slugs and a red dot. She got it sighted in and it's shooting really good. It's a nice shot to the bear bait barrel. Okay, so we found this. Looks like bear poop to me. And it's really, the barrel is actually just kind of over there. But, you know, they're around. It's a good sign. There's a nice valley back in here, just past, maybe about 60 yards that way. And past the bear bait, I know a lot of people talk about, you know, you need to have a beaver pond or something like that. We don't have any on our property. I don't even think we have any beavers out here, but it is a bit swampy back there. Swampy enough that you wouldn't want to take an ATV through it or anything. And it might be one of the swampiest sections in a dark patch of woods. And I mean, it seems like it's a nice spot. We've got bears here already on a new bait and on our established bait from last year. Not nearly as swampy and not nearly as close to the dark woods. It usually takes longer for the bears to show up. So it's a good start at a new bait. We're not that far off our trail actually, but it's just us that uses it. So hopefully we will see some more activity at this bait. Okay, so it's the next day. Last day of April. We had the bear come in again last night. So we baited yesterday afternoon and the bear was in here really good. You can see he's eating everything here. He didn't quite figure out how to pull these logs out. So we'll, I might take one out just so it's a little bit more accessible for him. But yeah, he's really cleared this spot out. So we're gonna throw some more bread and stuff inside the barrel, top it up a little bit more. Jackie and I, we talked about it and we decided we're going to give this bear a few more days, let him get a little bit more comfortable here. Maybe something else will come in, maybe a little bigger. But if not, you know, this is a decent looking boar. Probably about 150, 60 pounds, we're guessing. And we'd love to, it'd be a great first bear for Jackie. So we're going to try to get her on that and see what we do. But we're going to give it a few more days, maybe a week or so, before we even try to come out and hunt. We need to have the right wind, so that's what we're going to wait on as well. The blind, everything's all set up, so we're ready to go. Our bread and sardines is still inside here. And I'm also going to dump some more corn out in front here and spray it down with some of our scent. Really seems to like this. And keep in mind, this is not how to bait bears if you're a guide service or something. It's just the two of us here on our homestead, and this is how we bait. It's a bit frugal, but it works within our budget, which is very low for bear baiting. I'll give the site one more quick spray down. Now I'm actually going to pull one of these logs out a little bit so it knows that the food is in there. It makes it a little bit easier on the bear to get in there and get some. Just don't want the raccoons being a problem. And we're lucky in the sense that we can come out and bait every day. This is only a 5-minute quad drive behind our house, so it's not that much work to get out here and do this. If you were running baits and you couldn't show up on a regular basis, then I would definitely say put more bait in the barrel. But because it's right behind our house, basically backyard bears, it's a lot easier for us to just come out here and top it up on an as-needed basis. We'll hopefully be able to get you here to see Jackie's first bear hunt, and maybe we'll get one. Who knows? We'll see. Really appreciate you guys joining us, and best of luck for yourselves.